Hi, my name is Jude Timbre, and in my presentation, I will be talking about language and education and second language teaching methods. I believe that in more recent times, learning a language has seemingly become easier and easier. From classes in high schools and colleges to the variety of different apps downloadable on your phone, it is very convenient to learn a new language. Contrary to popular belief, however, learning a language cannot be learned in a short period of time. In my experience, I took 4 years of Spanish in high school, and I can barely form a sentence. This is due to a slew of factors, from the teacher and how invested they are into the material, to me being actually interested in the material, to me wanting to learn the language rather than just doing it for the grade or for the credit. According to the book, second language teaching falls into two categories: the synthetic approach and the analytic approach. Page 302. The synthetic approach is formed from the basics, kind of like a pyramid from the bottom up. This type of approach stresses the grammatical, lexical, phonological, and functional parts of a language. The learner is pushed to learning how the language actually works as a whole, rather than learning just a few bits and pieces of it. What this means is that by learning the complete anatomy of a language, it can be compared to English or a language that they already know, making it easier to learn and build off of that. The synthetic approach is the most used way of teaching a language, where students learn a list of vocabulary words, verb paradigms, and grammatical rules, while translating passages from the targeted language into their own native language. Page 302. In high school, this was the way that I was taught, learning and translating words and phrases and seeing the similarities between them. This method is called grammar translation. This method has become increasingly popular around high schools because of how it creates a base that is very useful in other advanced classes. The other type of approach is the analytic approach. The analytic approach is conceived as more of a top-down approach, seeing where the learner's goals are first and working their way towards the bottom or more of the basics. Basically, the opposite of the synthetic approach. In this approach, the instructor guides where the person should be at the end of the class and working on ways to achieve that goal. According to the book, the instructor selects topics, texts, or tasks that are relevant to the learner. Page 302. This is the type of approach demonstrated on apps such as Duolingo and Rosetta Stone, where the user can pick what they want from the app, whether it is conjugating words or learning sentences that could be helpful and useful in travel, and how the app can use the algorithm to help them achieve that goal. This approach can help the learner, especially if they already know the rules of their own native language, and how they can use that to go hand in hand with the new language that they want to learn. The main goal of the analytic approach is to get the learner to be able to communicate in the language by the end of it, which helps it become more meaningful. This approach is helpful for people who want to learn a new language quickly rather than understanding and really diving deep into it. And it also focuses less on learning the grammar and more on learning and speaking and communicating the aspects of the language. Since these two approaches are on a broad spectrum, there's really not one clear-cut way that a person who wants to learn a language should learn it. It really depends on what the person wants to achieve and get out of it. But in my experience and the people that in my life that have experienced this, they have gone the analytical approach route because of how quick and convenient it is. While more high school and college settings, students in those language classes use the synthetic approach more often because of their diving deep into it and allowing the learner to actually experience the language. But at the end of the day, the teacher or instructor is going to do what works best for them and is most comfortable to them. But having the preference and say is always a good way to be 100% in on your goal. Thank you.